see me? Now I'm out here in nature with squirrels crying in the background, birds tweeting, so bear with me. Why should you cycle, ride a bike? Well, firstly, it's getting a bit cold here in the Northern Hemisphere, so I'm a bit more layered up now. Got the gloves on. Got my road bike here behind me that I use to go on my adventures, my 100-mile adventures. Now I go on a lot, all the time, about why you should ride, why you should cycle, and it seems to just get a bit boring with some people, so I suppose here's just an outflowing of passion for something that I think is very important, that can be something that will just maybe save your life, or at least change it. Now, as I've said, I'm out here in nature, loud birds tweeting, and well, when you're on the bike, you can go out into nature on your adventure, whether that's 10 miles, 100 miles, or however many miles that you're capable of wanting to do. And there's not, I don't think, anything else that allows you to really be in nature quite like the opportunities that cycling gives you. Because not just being out within nature, but when you're moving, you can have these amazing moments where a bird matches your speed while you're cycling, and for a moment you can be flying alongside next to each other for a few seconds. It's amazing, and I don't think there's anything else that really gives you that sensation of really being immersed and having a connection like that to what's surrounding you. Now, as I say, it's up to you how many miles you want to do. What your adventure might be is to some nothing, but that's why it's amazing. You can choose how hard you want to push yourself. Now, talking about how hard wanting to push yourself, how many times do you get given advice in life and told this will improve your life quality and blah blah blah? So, for example, what you eat, your diet. Well, the bicycle allows you to really be able to test what advice you're given in life. So for me, I found that a diet eating a lot of rice and fruit and lots of sugar, yes, sugar, allows me personally to go faster than I ever have done on a bike. And this is something that I've tested using the bicycle. So I go out and I use a power meter on my bike with a bike computer, and that just allows me to really see that when I'm eating this or given this advice, I'm going faster, and if I was to eat or given this advice, I would be going slower. And I think you can also sort of replicate this or extend this to the rest of life. So if you're in some sort of performance orientated job or whatever, and you want to be able to get the best out of your life, then testing what you're given as advice can be extended from the bike. So if you perform on the bike, you'll perform off the bike. So if you're going faster on the bike, you'll do better off the bike, because your health, based on fundamentals of what we eat. It doesn't matter what we do. If we are unhealthy, we just perform worse. I think the squirrel is screaming in the background. Baby squirrels must be. Now the obvious one, I suppose, is just your fitness, isn't it? I mean, how often on a bike, are you going to get shin splints from running, for example? I mean, running's pretty good. Cycling's better because it's a low impact sport, apart from when you crash. But if you subscribe and like the video and you keep watching the channel, you'll pick up advice that means you won't ever crash, or at least 99.9% of the time you'll never crash. Okay? You don't need to be worrying about crashing in cycling, really. And injury, again, when you are fitted up properly on the bike and you are given some good advice, you don't ever need to get injured from the bike. And in fact, a lot of the time you might do another sport and you'll actually come across to cycling because the risk of injury is so little. So if you're worried about getting an injury running or whatever it might be, that again, that will affect the rest of your life. Cycling doesn't have that risk like other sports do. Now, weight loss. Now, there's a bit of a myth about weight loss, really, because what you eat will affect you, how much extra weight you carry, rather than how much cycling you're doing. Now, for the sports that allow you to lose as much weight as possible for the amount of effort you're putting in, cycling is the best sport for that. The returns from the amount of effort you put in are better than any other sport. That's very much obvious when you start cycling, especially the harder and longer you go and the more miles you do. However, again, if you subscribe to the channel, I've got a number of videos trying to put across a better lifestyle, and it starts with what you eat. And obviously, the less fat you eat, the less fat you're holding, the less fat you're needing to burn while you're on the bike. But for the amount of returns you get for, let's say, an hour's ride, and you do that compared to running, the bicycle is the most efficient to get you healthier, as in leaner, weight loss. If you're looking for losing some weight alongside obviously diet, then the bicycle is the go-to. Now, the amount of places that this simple machine here can take you on such amazing journeys, take you to places you've never been before and never would have thought even existed. Whether that's just your local area, or if you take it away on a holiday, you can see such amazing things. And again, it doesn't have to be something scary and expensive. This is something that you and I can do, normal people, on a simple beautiful machine like this. Now the gloves are off. Warming up a bit now. Now, if you want to spend your money on something, spend a lot of money on something, then again, riding the bike is for you, because nowadays you can really spend out a lot of money on a bicycle and really show off your bling and your investments to everyone around you while you're on the road. If you want to look cool on the road and look like you're rich and you've got lots of money, then again, the bicycle might just be for you. If you're looking for status symbols, then yeah, a new expensive bike. And I would say you don't necessarily need to, because it can be accessible at the very cheap side of things with a second-hand bike, maybe off eBay, or if you want, you can spend tens of thousands of pounds on all new kit. And again, that's the amazing thing about it. Again, I'll have videos coming up about what to look for on a second-hand bike, what's safe things so you don't cycle along and the bike falls apart while you're going along. So look out for that one. And again, you don't need to spend tens of thousands of pounds. Anyone can ride a bike, no matter who they are. You can, if you look for the right bike, you can afford it at any level. You don't have to spend lots and lots of money. Whether you're commuting or you're the weekend warrior or whatever, whether you're new or whether you're a veteran, you can choose how much money that you want to spend. Now, personally, I use this for road racing, so I've spent quite a lot on it, but I could really pick up a really good second-hand bike that is a race bike, but I suppose I just want to go with the newer stuff. Now, for me, the pleasure that I get from cycling is the performance side of things, so racing. Now, I've been racing for a few years now, road racing and some hill climbing, and it's that personal achievement. And when I started off, I was definitely in the mindset that I was racing other people, but I think really the most important thing is that feeling of racing yourself and the personal best. The only person really that is defeating you at the end of the day is yourself. Stopping you from, inverted commas, beating everyone else's selves and being the first person over the line or whatever it is that you're looking for. So when I go out training and I have my bicycle computer and I'm looking at the stats that I'm seeing, and I think I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing. If I'm doing training and the progression every week, or if I'm building up to an event or whatever it might be that personally you're doing. Again, that feeling of building up fitness towards some goal is, I think it's probably better than anything like in a job where you think you're building up to some big goal. I don't think there's really any feeling that is better than that accomplishment from, even if you don't necessarily on the day of the event or race or whatever deliver, it's still, you've had that journey to the end, and it's that bit in the middle which is the most amazing feeling. And especially when you join up with someone else, you go out training with someone else, that camaraderie or the friendship that you can form with other people that are like-minded like that. And I know it's just like the rest of life, most people always seem to not be very nice, and it's those few people that you pick up along the way, and I suppose it really allows you to test what you're made of and what the other people are made of. Especially when you go out on a training ride and the weather is terrible, and it really is pushing yourself to the limits, and especially if you're out with other people, you learn what people are made of when they panic, and who's someone to trust and not to trust, and so on. But and how else do we really push ourselves like that in today's world, where we really find discomfort in what we do, and then you find yourself 50 miles away from home, and you have to get back in the wet and the cold, and then it becomes an adventure in itself, and then you can go on and talk about it to the people, and they roll their eyes because they don't understand what it's like, that feeling of pushing yourself like that. And again, talking to people that don't cycle, it's I think another reason why it's important to cycle is being able to understand, being able to understand what other people are thinking. So putting yourself in other people's shoes. So if you think, this cyclist is going really fast or whatever, and overtook me in a car. Well, when you have cycled a lot and you've been in traffic, and there's definitely a lack of respect when you're cycling, and everyone who's on a bicycle gets labelled the same, no matter if they don't call themselves a cyclist, they're just commuting to work or someone who's very serious. I think if you cycled, you would get an idea of what it's like, how hard it is to go very fast. So, when someone maybe says, oh, they were going 20 or 30 miles an hour cycling through some place on the road, well, that person probably most likely is very rare, and they're very fit, or they're on a bike that has a motor on it, so they're on a motorbike, as I call them, not an e-bike, and they're very rare. Now I would say that I'm quite fit, and I would only really be going very fast, so 30-40 miles an hour maybe on a bicycle or more, either when it's a very good wind pushing you along, or you're going down a very steep hill. And even then, usually when I'm going down a very steep hill, I get overtaken by a car like I'm standing still. So again, I think, to understand that when you're going very fast on a bike, it is very fast, and most of the time you're not going very fast. So it gives you a good idea about, I think, better idea about how the world works in the world that you live. Gives you a different perspective about, what the other people might say. You can really look at a situation or the world maybe from different points of view. Now, there's a lot of reasons to ride a bike. These are just a few off the top of my head. It's not a scripted video, just the passion that I have, and you could have too if you started cycling. If you don't have to spend a lot of money, and here on the channel you'll see that you don't have to be scared to ride a bike. Maybe that's what is stopping you from, commuting or just having a bit of fun. You don't need to be scared to ride the bike, or stopping you from riding the bike. You're scared of traffic. Well, I'm very visible, as you can see, and that's the point, isn't it? You can see me, so you don't let that stop you from cycling. All the birds out here. Now, if you like the video, then subscribe, and maybe if you are new to cycling, then stick around. I've got plenty of videos here on the channel to lead you to maybe a better lifestyle than the one you're living already. So, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.